first time you arrive at auburn.medius.re, you will be presented with select a product option. So we're going to go ahead and select a product here to get started. So let's select peanuts, and it will take us to the peanut dashboard. And we're going to focus on analytics here in this video. So I'm going to come over here to the button analytics, and we'll select that. And then we'll see the first thing that will pop up is you have the option to pick from these presets, or you can do your own custom analytics. So let's go ahead and select a preset, and we're just going to look at OVT. So we'll go ahead and let that build itself out. And so now you'll see that we've got trial year 2023. Data is grouped by trial blocks, and we're keying on the varieties. So each one of these tabs up here are trial blocks or locations, and the first column is your varieties, and then there have been some data fields here pre-selected for you. So if we were interested in looking at another trial year, right up here on trial year, we just click either on the date or on this calendar, and it will give us the ability to select different years. So once we select a different year, so say 2022, we'll get this notification that we need to rebuild our analytics because something has changed. So I'll say rebuild, and now I have 2022 data. But let's go ahead and go back to 2023. The next thing that I can do is I can choose which trial blocks I want to view. So if I go here to trial blocks, part of the preset is it selected just the OVT ones by default. But if I wanted to get rid of some of them, for example, if I didn't want this one right here that was irrigated, I can deselect that and then say rebuild analytics. And now that is gone from my list. The other option that you have is you can add in some additional ones here as well if you want to add those in. If there's data that's coming from another group, you'll have the ability to do third-party data. So I can go ahead and select third-party here, and let's say we wanted to look at University of Florida peanuts. I can go ahead and select peanuts there for University of Florida. And then you'll notice I'll get this notification, make sure you have all the trial blocks selected that you want visible in the analytics table. That's because I've got these new data fields down here, or trial blocks down here that I can select. So let's go ahead and select each of those and then say rebuild analytics. And now you'll notice that that additional data is provided for me up here in these trial blocks. So that's how you can pull in data from other sources as well. Let's say I wanted to look at additional data fields. Back here under data fields, I can select any one of these and add as many as I want, and go ahead and rebuild analytics, and now you have those additional data fields for you here. Now let's say I want to apply some filters to this. So I've got a lot of data here and I want to narrow this down. I can go to filters, and then under select data field, I'm going to go ahead and just pick yield, and then I can choose, okay, do I want yield equal to something, not equal, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, or do I want a range, something that's between certain values? Let's just go with greater than and say we want to find, or we want to look at data where only the yield is greater than 4,500 pounds per acre, and then click down here and say filter. And so you'll notice our list just got shorter, and that applied a filter for us. Now I've got a couple options here. We can select how we want to sort this data. So we're looking at right now 2023 data. If we scroll over, you'll notice it's the same data fields here, but we're now looking at multi-years worth of data, so 2021 to 2023. Any one of these fields I can click on and sort. So let's say, for example, I wanted to sort by what my value per acre is over a 3-year period, or the potential of a 3-year period. I would just click on this and it will sort high to low here for you. And so now you've got an order to this. And you'll notice in here there's the Y and an L value. The Y is telling you the number of years represented in this value, and the L is the number of locations. So for this particular one, there's only 1 year's worth of data at one location. However, some of these have 2 years worth of data in 2 locations. It's all dependent on how those varieties are trialed year in and year out. So this group, as we talked about up here, is grouped by the trial blocks, but we can change that and we can actually move these data fields up here to the tabs and these trial blocks down here to the columns. And to do that, we're going to go to group data by, where it says trial blocks, we're going to change that to data fields. And it's going to rebuild that for us. So now here at the top we have our yield, and then each one of these columns is our location. So you'll see the location for OVT as part of Auburn, and you'll also see the locations here for the University of Florida that we had previously selected as third-party data that we wanted to look at. The other option you have is you could change how you want to key the data, but for most of the use cases, keeping it on variety is where you want that to be. If you go ahead and look at these tabs across the top, the far right tab in this particular case is called the total score average. So this is the z-score accumulation across all of the different data fields that you have selected, which essentially gives you a ranking for these varieties based on the parameters that you've specified. So I could take this multi-year average total z-score column and go ahead and sort that from high to low, and this is going to give me an indication of the varieties that have performed the best across all the data fields and parameters that I've specified over a potential of a 3-year period. So you can see this top variety only existed for 1 year, but these next 2 varieties were in there for 3 years. And so that gives you some indication as to a variety's ability to perform over time. So let's say, for example, we're going to go back and we're going to sort this back by trial blocks. If you wanted to export this data, then what you would do is these 3 cog icons up here, analytics settings, you could click on those, and then you could come down here to export CSV, and it would export this table for you. Another option that you would have is you can actually capture that image, or you can do the same thing up here with this image icon and say save that image. And what it'll do is it'll take the current view that you're looking at and it will render it as a PNG image for you, and then that image will download. And so then that image, you'll have the ability to share that with anybody if you wanted to send it somewhere or include it in a PowerPoint, but you have that image available to you here. The other thing that you could do is once you've kind of set things how you would want them, there is this copy link button up here. So when you click on that, it will generate a unique URL for you. It'll also give you a QR code if that's beneficial. You could share this link with anybody, and that gives you the ability to help them pull this up automatically so they don't have to go through everything that you went through, and they would get the same results that you have. So that is an overview of how to use the various features within analytics.